Hello, I'm Jonasz Rewiński and you're watching TVP World Talks, where every word matters. The European Union is at a very important stage in the formation of the new European Commission. Specifically, the hearings of prospective commissioners are taking place. Not all of them are successful. Specifically, we have Mr. Olivér Várhelyi from Hungary, who is facing problems. He's actually the first one to be facing problems in the course of these hearings. But also today, Kaja Kallas is being questioned by members of parliament, and she is set to replace Josep Borrell as the head of the European diplomacy. Meanwhile, Josep Borrell is making his farewell tour, visiting Ukraine, and today moving on to Warsaw, holding talks with Poland's foreign minister Radosław Sikorski. So we'll also take a glance briefly at Josep Borrell's legacy there. We're going to be talking about this with our guest, Péter Balázs, former EU commissioner. Hello and welcome to TVP World.
Good morning.
So first, let's begin with the question of Mr. Várhelyi. He is the first candidate to be facing some, if not resistance, then perhaps, some skepticism. Can you briefly tell us what is this about, and is there a risk that he might get rejected? Initial forecasts suggested that this time around no one would get rejected, but as we can see, perhaps there might be some changes there.
Well, on behalf of the actual Hungarian government, Olivér Várhelyi is the candidate for the position of an EU commissioner. He is not unknown in Brussels because he has been the commissioner in the last 5 years. And he had a very important portfolio, neighborhood and enlargement policy. Now he is being here at the parliament. We can see him on the picture now. He is here for another position, which is less important in the EU. This is human health and animal well-being. That's what Ursula von der Leyen has suggested him. And in the hearing, there were some problems. In fact, the hearing is about two main points. One is about the candidate himself or herself, background, professional, the characteristics, abilities. And the other one is the job. Now, Olivér Várhelyi had some problems with both, because he is, a kind of representing Viktor Orban in the Commission. And sometimes there were some doubts in the European Parliament that maybe Várhelyi is not putting the emphasis on the EU's interests, but on Mr. Orban's wishes. This was one point. And another point is that, for that reason, he has got a less important, I would say one of the least important jobs in the new commission. And he is not an expert on health and animal well-being. So he has been tested by several professional questions. He knows well. He used to be, when I was minister and when before I was the permanent representative for Hungary by the EU, he used to be in my team. So I know him, and he's an excellent expert. He's a good lawyer. He speaks a good English. So personally, he's prepared for his job. But his political background is a bit doubtful, and now he finds himself in a portfolio which is quite far away from his professional life so far.
It has been suggested by some commentators that perhaps if there are controversial issues on which Mr. Várhelyi has spoken out and these controversies have emerged, that perhaps these areas could be carved out of his portfolio and be given to somebody else. Doesn't this plan sound a bit desperate, though, and a bit convoluted?
Well, I think this happened in the past with a few candidates also. including some Hungarian candidates in the past. But while this is rearranging the shop window, but not changing fundamentally the things, the hearing is an important moment, but the president of the Commission is not obliged to reject a candidate just because there is a negative opinion of the parliament. There were some examples that those candidates were accepted later on the list of the Commission. I think that now it's rather urgent to have a new European Commission active, and because there are very important issues to be dealing with. And if Várhelyi is rejected, another rather similar candidate could be nominated by the Orbán government, so it wouldn't change too much for the Commission. I think that Várhelyi will be accepted quite soon in order to start the work of the new Commission.
So now, moving on to the change in the position of Europe's top diplomat, Josep Borrell, what do you think about his legacy? He is actually ending his term on a high note. Yesterday, visiting Kiev, even spending some time in a bomb shelter because the Russians saw it fit to launch missiles at the Ukrainian capital at that time. And also today, visiting Poland. Do you think that, looking back at his legacy, it is going to be seen mostly as a positive one?
Well, Josep Borrell is a diplomat with a fantastic experience. He was serving long years in the EU, his own country, Spain, and so on. But now his time is over. And Europe needs somebody younger, more dynamic, with maybe more initiatives. And I think Kaja Kallas is an excellent choice because she was a successful prime minister of Estonia, on the one hand, and she knows much better than anything else the main problem, and this is Russia. The expansion of Russia, the war in Ukraine, she will be very competent on that issue. What she needs is the support of the member states, because this high representative has no own power. He or she is mandated, authorized by the member states. And so if the member states will so, Kaja Kallas will do a good job in this position.
Do you think Kaja Kallas would be also good in engaging with the newest administration? In particular, we're talking about the questions of war in Ukraine, but also the question of NATO. Naturally, NATO is a separate entity, but this is all interconnected in that the majority of countries share places in both organizations. In short, Mark Rutte was often described as a Trump whisperer. Do you think that Kaja Kallas could also step into the shoes of a Trump whisperer for the time being?
My answer is yes. Yes, she has all the qualities. And we don't know yet the future foreign minister of the United States, but whoever will take this position, Kaja Kallas will be an excellent partner. And if we regard the other arm of our alliance system, NATO, then Mark Rutte is a very good partner to coordinate their action and to decide together how the two organizations of the transatlantic family, NATO and EU, will act with this, not really predictable U.S. administration with Donald Trump on the top.
So there are many challenges ahead, and the European Union is gearing up with a new Commission, a new outlook for the future, perhaps also a new approach to issues such as defense, security and foreign policy. Péter Balázs was our guest today here on TVP World. Thank you very much for joining us and for sharing your insight.
Thank you.
And I'm Jonasz Rewiński. You're watching TVP World. Please do stay with us for more latest news and updates.